This is a true wake-up call that we here in Queensland and we here in Australia need to send that message to the rest of the world that we are very serious about reducing our emissions, and we're very serious about climate change and the dire effects that it is already having on the Great Barrier Reef, the Australian icon and the world icon.
And so this is important as a symbol of where we're at?
This is an important stepping stone. We are in a critical decade where every 10th of a degree matters, and every week, every month that goes by is critical in terms of our reductions in emissions and our emphasis on rapidly and urgently reducing our impact on the Great Barrier Reef.
So tell us about your personal experience on the reef, what you've seen while you've been out there, and should the reef be listed as in danger?
I am a fish scientist. I've been working on the Great Barrier Reef since 2011. I simulate mid-century and end-of-century conditions with climate change, both in the laboratory, and I do observations and research in the field as well. And I have to say that the most alarming and most sobering point of my career was in 2016, being in the water when the Great Barrier Reef started bleaching. And now we've had 6 mass bleaching events here on the Great Barrier Reef. And, to be honest, I was thinking this isn't supposed to happen so quickly. And that's what's the most scary, not only for us scientists, but for those of us that love and appreciate and know the value and beauty and the protection that the Great Barrier Reef offers us.
What do you make of Federal Labor's argument in response to this, that since the UN mission undertook its work, a number of significant steps have been created, and the Queensland Environment Minister's argument that since the report was written, things have changed?
We are taking action, but that action needs to be much more rapid and much more urgent. We need to be looking at 75% reductions from 2005 values, and that needs to be by 2030. That needs to keep us under 1.5 degrees of warming. We have already seen what 1.2 degrees of warming has done, and we cannot afford to barrel down 2 degrees of warming, which is what it's looking like. And that means that we need to not approve any more coal, oil, or gas explorations or developments whatsoever. That cannot be the case for Australia anymore.
So until Australia commits to greater reductions in greenhouse gases by 2030, as you've outlined there, can it claim to be doing all it can for the reef?
We cannot claim to be doing all we can for the reef at this point. We aren't. We need to be setting that message to the rest of the world that we are doing everything that we possibly can for the reef. And that means we need to take urgent action on emissions immediately. At this point, we're quite hypocritical. We have the largest continuous underwater ecosystem on the planet, 2,300 kilometers of the Great Barrier Reef, and we are stewards. We are tasked with protecting this beautiful and valuable ecosystem. And at this point, we're not doing a good enough job, and we're not doing it quickly enough.